telecommunication companies tells all. Top telecom industry thought leaders Kaveh Hushar, Harald Braun, and Dr. Hussein Eslam Bolchi have led the transformation of the industry, which allowed communication service providers, or CSPs, to become digital service providers, or DSPs. And extreme transformation allows these DSPs to deliver content which leads to more revenue and higher margins. The primary audiences for this book are telecom professionals embarking on a transformation, telecom equipment manufacturers developing digital service providers, hardware, software products, institutional investors evaluating their investment decisions in the telecom industry, management consultants leveraging a solid benchmark for transformation, and university students majoring in telecommunication as a guide for career planning. The authors further explain how to maintain legacy networks at high-performing quality of experience and how to evolve the business to become more scalable and with optimal performance. The book is now available for pre-order on Amazon and at the publisher's webpage from Francis and Taylor. Enjoy your read.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this special session. I'm very honored today to have one of the co-authors of the book titled Telecom Extreme Transformation with us, Harald Braun, board member at CLA Direct, a technology solution provider with extensive experience in Latin America and the Caribbean. Today, I would like to get his view on this book, get answers on why it is relevant in these transformational times, which audience it will address, and what the desired impact will it have. Let's get started. Welcome, Harald. To start, we would like to know a little bit about you. Could you tell us who is Harald Braun, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. And before we start, of course, welcome everybody on the call and on the videos, and thank you very much for joining. And give me the opportunity to talk about the book and hopefully whatever else we can do. So many of the people, I guess, know me on the call. So my name is Harald Braun. I was born in Cologne, Germany, and I worked there, and actually I went through the school system there, of course, up to the university, and Germany has this apprentice system. I did actually have a practical job there as well, and that was with the Deutsche Telekom, or the German Telekom, that inspired my desire to get to the telecommunication industry. And so I ended up there actually as a public school teacher, so in the beginning. And then I decided to get another study. And I studied engineering, telecommunication engineering, what you call today a diploma in engineering, electrical engineering and electronics, the University of Aachen. Then started with Siemens, stayed there 23 years, started as a developer there in public switching systems, a beautiful time in Munich. And then they put me into different countries and run different areas in Southeast Asia, Europe, and so on and so forth. And I ended up in principle as the president and CEO of Siemens Networks in the US. That was, of course, wonderful. And then the Siemens decided to get out of the telecommunication business and sell it to Nokia. So I resigned at day one because I didn't want to be a part of this and wanted to create my own company. But I had to stay 1 year. I did to transition my customers and, of course, also my people. And after that, we actually looked during the year. I put a company together. Harris and Stratex in the mobile backhaul business, brought that then to NASDAQ as Harris and Stratex. So I put these two companies together, a Harris Stratex network. And then after a year, I did actually change the name to Aviat Networks, still, and the stock exchange still going strong. So very good. And then during that time, I had also different positions in board memberships, one of which was with CLA Direct. Now I have the honor to work now almost a decade with the founder and CEO Alberto Gross together. And in the Central America and of course in South America, it is a wonderful time. And I really appreciate a lot of relationship which we created during that time. And today I'm also on several global public and private board of directors, all in the telecommunication industry. So since everything is connected, I'm staying there.
Great, Harald. Hearing all of this extensive experience, I think the audience would like to know what was the motivation to write this book?
Yes, when you spend almost 4 decades, right, more than 35 years in the industry, you develop a lot of business friendships, which I have developed with some of you on the call. And that, of course, happened on a global basis. At one point in time, some of the AT&T executive, the CTO, Dr. Hossein Istanbulci, which we have a very close relationship, and also Kaveh Ushar, the CEO, previous COO of AT&T, we got together for dinner and said, how can we help in this exciting new industry? What mistakes we did, all right? And what do we have to offer? So we decided, listen, we have experience, we have different viewpoints. You, Harald, come from the provider side, the technology provider side. We come from the operator side, and we all make mistakes. Why can we not put that together? Experience, different viewpoints, and learning from mistake, to put that all together, and hopefully can influence other people who are taking off on a transition, and to help them, or at least give guidance, or at least give them some something what they can look at to not make the same mistakes we did. And that was the motivation. So we got together. It took us 2 years, by the way, and it was a wonderful experience. I never had that, to put everything together. And now I'm very happy that we brought it out, and I'm very happy about the publisher, because it's a very high-level science publisher who put that book out and actually signed us on. It was not I thought it would have been the biggest problem to find a publisher, and it was the least of the problems. So we had 3 offers, and we decided for Taylor and Francis.
Great, Harald. Before continuing, I would like to get the question from our audience. Please, any question, let us know in the chat section on the Q&A section. While the presentation, we will be answering questions. Harald, now, you talk in the book about CSP, Communication Service Provider, and DSP, Digital Service Provider. To get everybody on the same page, can you please define what your understanding of a DSP is?
Yeah, long discussion between the 3 of us, Hossein, Kaveh, and myself, and we wanted to boil it down to a 1 sentence. And I came up with the definition applies to companies that distribute media online. Period. End of story. So companies, and maybe some people will be shocked by that, but and it has, of course, a reason why we say that. But companies who distribute media online are the digital service providers, in our viewpoint, throughout the book. So, and of course, this has different reasons, right? When we see the telecommunication industry right now, and we see the traditional service providers, moving on, some of them moved on from just connectivity, whether this is fixed or whether this is wireless or whatever other media, we thought, they have to move on and provide something on top of their connectivity. And, people who moved on in this industry have created also different business segments, whether that is in the industry, whether this is in farming, whether this is connected cars, or the end user using now so many different applications. So in principle, the consumer is driving the market today. And 40 years ago, it was the opposite. The telecommunication service providers told you what to use, right? You can use whatever you want, but this has to be a fixed line phone and it has to be black, right? So that, of course, is done. This is over with, right? And the winners are the company who can provide the most progressive, relevant service from the viewpoint of the consumer at the fastest time and in fastest time to market to the consumer. And that, of course, requires a total reimagination of service providers.
Okay, great. Harald, and based on this experience writing this book, what industry needs does this book address?
Yeah, so the good news today is, and therefore I'm so happy and honored to stay in the communication industry, as many of you are, because this is one of the industries where you can actually start a job and, close out your career as well. So it has a lifespan. Not a lot of industries can talk about that, can say that, right? And when you hear today the buzzwords like IoT, artificial intelligence, cloud, Internet of Vehicles, right? And there are so many things. Good news is everything is connected. Without connectivity, nothing with the new solutions will actually work. And the consumers are creating a new digital lifestyle. We are arguing that in the book as well. Whether this is good, bad, or ugly doesn't matter. The millenniums and the new generations growing up, they are using this media, a telecommunication network. They wanted to use the application, and they changed our lifestyle, and they changed their lifestyle. So what does that mean? Communication service providers traditionally deliver bits. From our point of view, there are faster bits, and excuse that I say more intelligent bit. The faster bits don't deliver anymore the revenue which CSPs can actually make money with. These bits have to get more intelligence. Well, the intelligence leads into what can I put in these bits? What do I actually transport from A to B or to the consumer? And from our point of view, these intelligence bits have a much higher margin. So it addresses the industry to see how can I bring more intelligent bits with a higher margin expectations to my end users. So, and that's what we say, that requires what we call extreme transformation. To get from a pure connectivity provider to a more, communication service providers. And we have seen many companies making that switch, right? So telecommunication companies providing now also media online, right? Not only voice, data, internet connectivity, TV, so the triple play. What they're missing normally is the fourth, the quadruple play, which would be the mobile part of it, which is another challenge, right? So, and hopefully we can address that in the next book. Yeah. So I think that is what it's needed, I think, from our point of view, and that's what the book addresses.
Okay, excellent. And who are the primary audiences for your book?
First of all, many people on the call, like telecommunication professionals, embarking on the transformation which we see worldwide, which we see in the US, which we see in Asia, which we see also happening in Latin and South America, Central America and South America. We see that everywhere. So telecommunication professional. Then, of course, also telecom equipment manufacturers developing hardware and software for that. So we see, the few. So there are not a lot of manufacturers left, right, in that industry, and they're changing. And you shouldn't be surprised that at some point in time, they're going to go away, and then you have the Amazons and the Facebooks and the Spotifys and others. They are telecommunication service providers, so telecommunication equipment manufacturers. Institutional investors who are actually investing, and we have seen that in many other boards, that when you come with a traditional connectivity company, nobody wants to invest. Nobody wants to invest. You need to work about cloud, AI, IoT, social media. You need to bring some other functionalities to the table. Otherwise, institutional investors will not invest. And of course, this book will also tell them, evaluate your investment decision based on something what we say in the book. Management consultants, right? Do I see myself as a consultant? I'm not 100% sure. But as I mentioned in the beginning, how can we help people embarking on a transformation? How can we help them not to make the same mistakes we did? And we make many mistakes of that. And we blew up, from my point of view, hundreds of millions sometimes, right, in big companies, because we did not think it through. So management consultants, and of course, university students and majoring in the telecommunication, and they can maybe get an idea about their career planning, right? And I would love to inspire them to say, hey, this is an industry where you can start and you can also end up your career. Everything is connected, and it is absolutely exciting.
Great.
Answer to a simple question, right? But
yeah, sure. Just as a reminder for everyone, please, any question, let us know in the chat section before continuing. So, Harald, what is unique about the extreme transformation called for in this book?
We use the word extreme after, again, a long discussion, but it came out almost natural out of one reason, because in the new telecommunication world, especially in the mobility world, where everything is connected wirelessly, not everything, but a lot connected wirelessly, it is now not only that a human being is talking to another human being, like we are doing right now in a kind of a broadcast, right? Or when I call you, Jaime, you and I talk, blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. We have now billions of sensoric, of devices connected and talking to each other and learning from each other, bringing other devices and, I say energy, everything is connected, right? So, and that is, of course, the extreme thing. It's not only the 6 billion people, or let's say 5 billion people connected from the 7, but there are 10 plus billion endpoints connected. Whether this is a car, whether this is a machine at a machine shop, or manufacturing, or whatever that is, everything is connected these days. And that, of course, is extreme. And now what do you do? Billions of devices are connected and using, hopefully, intelligent bits. That's the extreme transformation from a CSP to a DSP, right? So that's what we try to explain, how to do that. And of course, this is not easy. And, it in principle says that we need to sit down, need to see what is your network doing today and how can we transform it to make sure that we can connect the billions of devices. And they are growing. It's not that they are staying. We need to have a scaling portion of it when we are, transform the network. So everything around that is extreme. It has been all the time a transformation. Everybody knows that on the call. It has been all the time a transformation from this to this, from 2G to 3G to 4G to 5G. 6G is already there. Energy, it will be a constant. But now, the first time, we have now more than human beings connected. That's why we call it extreme. And what I'm very happy about is, and I'm looking in the last couple of years more into the autonomous industry, and I'm so excited to see that within 1 year, I give you an example. Last year, the automotive show, one of the world's biggest automotive show in Germany, which I, of course, know a lot of people, had 95% on their show was combustion engine cars. Normal, with a motor, with an engine, blah, blah, blah. Last week, 1 year later, 95% of the cars were EVs. And more than half of them had a roadmap to be connected, to shoot a software in there, make it autonomous, make it whatever. And by the way, it was a vehicle. It's not a car only, right? So it's all kinds of things, whether the vehicle is a boat, is a truck, is a car, is a bicycle, is whatever, right? So I'm so excited about it. So a lot of stuff's going on there. So therefore we call it extreme.
Absolutely, Harald. And, we have C-level people in this meeting. We have, leaders in general from the telecom industry. For them, can you share some specific changes that you were recommending to the overall telecom platform?
Yeah, I mean, this is, that of course is the major point of the book. When you see the books, you have a lot of explanations, how to do it, what make, and a lot of, displays and also charts in what to do. First of all, I think the change is dramatic because we have to see that we get this idea out of only connectivity services, that we have to discuss digital service based on IP. And the performance measurements has to look all the time at the quality of experience, right? So this is a very important one. Then the question is, do you have multiple networks? Do you have multiple redundant networks? Do you have a kind of a service over IP, so an SOIP platform? That, of course, as I mentioned before, is absolutely vital that you have an end-to-end IP platform, right? Many years ago, when we introduced, and I was, thanks God, one of the pioneers together with my team to bring first time ever in the world triple play to the market. And it could be only done with a cable customer, which had IP end-to-end. That's it. Otherwise, we could not have it make it work. So IP is very important because it becomes vital when it goes to bring digital services fast time to market. Then we need to understand the regulatory environment. This, of course, is different in South America, Central America, the Americas, in Europe, in Asia. And what is actually, when we liberalize the network, what is actually allowed? Which content can be allowed from A to B, right? And how can we regulate, or is it regulated? How is it monetized? Very important for the billing and all the back office services. A lot of people forget that. They are creating a network and forget totally the front and the back end. Because they are, and by the way, we did that also. That's the experience, right? We make everything nice, and then the back end or the provisioning and the billing, wait a second, right? So let's get back to the drawing board. That has to be considered. Very big issue. Then what I just said, the regulatory services. Are we allowed to do that? Can we work with the regulators and say, this is the industry. This is where the industry is going. These are the trends. The trend is your friend. So let me work with you and influence the regulatory. You don't sit down as DSP and wait until somebody makes, not knowing the industry, some decisions. You need to influence it. Otherwise, we cannot technology or we cannot innovate. We cannot advance from a technology point of view. So that is one critical point of view, the regulatory side, right? And then know the endpoints of the customer. What is the customer doing with that, right? Is he just watching a video, which is already old stuff, but is the customer mining? Is the customer mining with the blockchain, environment, on cryptocurrency, right? Total different situation for the energy, but also for the telecommunication network. Analytics important. What is the customer doing? What are we going to do? What is he using the network for? And of course, streaming content, right? Streaming content has to be instant, right? Has to be instant. And otherwise, the people who cannot instantly provide this need to will not succeed in that market. So there are some examples. Of course, there are many more.
Oh, great, excellent. And then I'm sure that based on your experience, you made mistake, but you should have a lot of takeaway. Can you share with us what you have learned from your past experiences in telecom transformation?
Yeah, one of the most common mistakes is that people all the time think, I have to invent something. I need to do it from scratch. I'm the best in the world, right? And and start, from with their own idea. That's great. When you want to innovate something and you want to create a new market, fine, that's great. But you have already something. The telecommunication service providers have already a network. So, and engineers have to look, and also the executives have to look at best practices. Whether the best practices will be done in their organization, will be done in other countries, will be done in whatever, because we look at best practices and then rather than building everything from scratch, right? So that takes longer and we make mistakes which others did make already, so we should avoid that. Then, of course, we have when we start, we have a legacy network. What is not performing in the legacy network? What services are not functioning or not performing or too slow? When we embarking on a transformational program, we learned before we start and throw everything out, we need to sit down and say, what is happening with my existing network, right? What is happening with my existing network? And then try to, on the existing network, start changing and making transformational steps, right? First, and what is not performing. And then while you are doing that, you get a lot of ideas how to actually change it, right? What to do. Oh, we could do that, but don't do everything together, because then it blows up and it will also take longer. And one thing we argue every time and all the time, we should not attempt to build one-off networks. So one-off solution. So it's only working for us, right? It's only working for us, nobody else. Well, that will hunt us later on. Maybe it's perfect, but we have seen that it may be, in 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years, people moved on, challenges are different. You build a one-off network, boom, you have to build it from scratch again. So do not use one-off shelf solutions. Make sure that you stay in the focus area what the industry is providing to you. Yeah. So that is somehow, some of the examples there. Which, by the way, all of this and all what we argue in the book, we all made these mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes is that we thought all the time we are the best in the world. Nobody can touch us. We did not look to best practices. We didn't learn from our legacy networks, because some of them are good and some of that stuff performed. And we build off, hey, we are the best. We build one-off solution which hunt us all the time, especially on the O&M side later on. Okay.
Great, Harald. Wrapping up this session, as a final question, please let us know your thoughts for those like us at CLA Direct who are serious about such transformation.
Any company, right? I mean, we see it in CLA. I mean, for us, it is wonderful to work together with the service providers, right? And also sit together and discuss with them, hopefully as thought leaders, and bring experience in and say, let's take a look, where you want to go? What do you want to do? With many of those on the call, we have these discussions. Where do we want to go? What do we see in the market? Which direction, what is the trend? Even we sit down in some region, let's say in South America. What is Europe doing? What is Asia doing? What are these guys doing? What is MTN in Africa doing? What is Singtel doing, right? We have all this experience because we know we know people and we talk to these people, and then see which services do they do and how can actually we point our customers to this direction, and hopefully work with them on a transformational process as thought leaders, and and start a transformation. And maybe people on the call say, we don't need a transformation. Well, listen to some of the experience, listen to some of the use cases. And we will respect that, of course. I will respect that, but I will argue why. Why you want to stay like this? Okay, you can stay another year, you can stay another 6 months. It's exponential growth. In exponential growth, the future is faster than you think. Yeah, that means we have to consider that. In 1 year, maybe you're suffering. Okay, fine, stay. But here's what we propose. And CLA, for example, can help there as well. And we have done that a couple of times. Because when you are independent, when you are not working for Nokia, Siemens, or Huawei or others, you have a more independent look and you take more better breed solution in there, right? So, and so that's it. And again, for me, it's all about experiences with new services, scalability, broader reach for coverage, and then a much faster time to market. That's what we need to have in mind. Okay,
thank you, Harald. Now, please, to the audience, let us know your question. I have a question for you, Harald. Taking into consideration the special capabilities and conditions in Latin America, service providers in Latin America, what would be your recommendation for these service providers in Latin America?
Well, maybe I connect to the last point I did, right? To see assessment driven by hopefully the C-level or the leadership assessment. Where are we? What are we providing? Is the service performing? What is the trend? Where does it go? Right? What do other countries? That is the what is the direction of other service providers who started late? For example, let's take a look into Asia. Let's take a look into sub-Saharan Africa. Let's take a look into some other countries, or let's take a look in the US. What is the trend? It will come to South America. Whether it comes in a month, in a year, or in 2 years, it will come, right? And then you have to decide, do I want to transform now, or do I wait longer, right? The longer you wait, the more you are out. So it will come. And also, what I mentioned, we have in North America and South America together 1 billion people. 1 billion people, North and South America together. Well, these people are connected. Maybe we have some underserved areas or whatever, but 3, 4, 5 billion sensors also in Latin America will be connected at one point in time, and that goes faster than you think. And where are they connected to? To your network. Which ones? Number 1, agricultural things, right? Number 2, mining. Number 3, manufacturing. Let's take Mexico. We had the experience with car manufacturers in Mexico, Volkswagen. I have in one board where I'm the chairman, I have a board member from Volkswagen, right? In Germany, a board member from them. And you see how they totally changed their manufacturing site. And guess what? They had to change their interaction, their databases. They have to secure that what they did. They had to use MEC, and we've argued that in the book as well in describing it, multi-edge computing on top of 5G. So they had to change, and they had to work with the service providers, with the, in that case, a communication service provider, because they totally changed. They cannot wait. And it will happen to others. I would urge everybody on the call, think strategically. We need to think strategically. When will it hit? It will hit. We are not only 1 billion people in this country. You are connected to 6 billion people in the world, but that will be multiples of connectivities going forward. And your network have to work with these billions of devices.
Okay, great. Well, any question? Let me there are some tier 2 and tier 3 providers in the region. Obviously, these are mid-size and small, ones in this, region. Should they transform as well? It's just a thing of, big service provider, or the tier 2 and the tier 3 needs and think about it and needs to transform themselves?
Well, that is an area where I did screw up a lot of millions of dollars with a big company, right? And that was very sad, but it was a big learning, right? Absolutely, yes. They need to transform, they need to sit down, they need to understand what's going on the trend, they will be a part of it. ISP, WISP, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, they are part of the whole thing. Why did I screw up money? Because we developed a smaller version of a triple play for some customers, right? And we convinced everybody that, now the big cable companies like Comcast and Cablevision and Quest and everybody, and a couple of others in the world, they use our solution. And I convinced these guys, the smaller guys, to do it also. So we developed a smaller solution for them. In the end of the day, they decided not to take it. Well, because they didn't want to spend the money, they didn't want to touch their network. None of them, none is existing today. None. I screwed up because of this development to a smaller version from a big, tier 1. We scaled it down. Hundreds of millions of dollars gone for me. Okay, in development. Well, in the end of the day, I was right. Unfortunately, none of them existing anymore. So the answer is yes, you need to do the same thing. You need to think in a smaller scale, but you need to do it as well.
Great. For the respect to the time, Harald, I think this has been a great session. We thank you, because I think we have a lot of takeaways from this session. Thank you. For sure, we will be in touch with our audience to any further question. Thank you, Harald.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good luck to everybody. Yeah, thank you. Bye.